Kia ora. Heavy rain and strong winds back on the cards for the South Island as we head through Saturday, as this next feature moves in from the south. Ahead of that, strengthening northwesterly winds may reach severe gale in the most exposed areas of Otago, Southland and Canterbury, while the heaviest rainfall will be piling in on these winds on towards that western coast through parts of, say, Fiordland, Westland and up in towards the headwaters of Otago and Canterbury as well. So there's plenty happening as we head through Saturday. It's a fairly short-lived affair. Most of these warnings are only 12 hours long or so. You can see by the time we head through to midday Sunday, that rain has cleared most of the South Island up towards those central parts of the North Island. But we have got plenty of things happening as we head through Saturday afternoon. We'll start off with that heavy rainfall. It may well be causing things like slips and rivers to rise pretty rapidly. Also adding things like dangerous driving conditions, particularly across those western sides of the South Island. But like I said, it's not just the rain that's going to be causing issues, it's also going to be a pretty windy afternoon across the South Island. Start on off in places like Southland and Otago with those warnings starting from around about midday today. But you can see the winds increasing, those purple colours showing the gale force winds through parts of Canterbury, especially up through the high country where we could find gusts of wind of around about 130 kilometres an hour. But even down towards the plains and in towards Marlborough, we'll find some really windy conditions as we head through Saturday afternoon and even through towards the early part of Sunday as well. And again, these winds are the things that can cause damage to things like power lines and trees. And if you've got anything unsecured out in the garden, that's the kind of thing that could get blown away by these winds as well. And again, also take those extra care on the roads, particularly if you've got that wind and the rain. Just leave extra time and take extra care as you travel around this afternoon on Saturday. So we have got plenty of severe weather warnings and watches already in place. You can see from these wind warnings, the heaviest rainfall is on that western side of the South Island, particularly through places like Fiordland, where we could find as much as 150 to 180 millimetres of rainfall as we go through the afternoon. So these warnings start about midday and run through to about midnight. So a really wet looking afternoon through Saturday through there. Places like the western coast of Westland, particularly those areas south of Otira, we'll find as rainfall warning starting from about 7 p.m. today. And again, rainfall totals up to around about 120, 150 millimetres of rainfall, not out of the question. Lesser amounts down towards the coast, 60 to 90 millimetres of rain, but still an incredibly wet looking story for there, particularly for those 12 hours or so, a really short but intense period of heavy rainfall as we go through Saturday afternoon. Now, while the wettest weather will be on that western coast, we will find the strongest winds push across towards the eastern side. The warnings we've got down for Southland, Fiordland, Otago and Stewart Island start from midday as well. And again, in the most exposed areas there, those northwesterly winds may reach gale force or severe gale, and those gusts even up to around about 130 kilometres an hour. Similarly, as we head up towards the Canterbury High Country, we could find those gusts of wind of around about 130 kilometres an hour in the most exposed areas as we go through the afternoon on Saturday from about 3 p.m. or so through in towards those early hours of Sunday morning. And we've also got a watch out for places like the Canterbury Plains and also Banks Peninsula. That's where we're going to find some of the strongest winds through the Canterbury Plains. For Banks Peninsula, it's going to be a windy story for you as we go through Saturday afternoon. And we've also got a watch for Marlborough and across in towards Wellington and the Wairarapa. Those are for the early parts of Sunday morning, but it will be a windy night for us, so well worth keeping up to date with the forecast and especially those watches and warnings. And as always, you can find all of that information at metservice.com.